Old school groove or next gen hit.
All right, select. Is that an old school groove or a next gen hit? Riordan, you tell me, what do you think that was?
I actually don't know the track. I'm going to go old school. It sounds old school, yeah. The old ravey synths and stuff. I'm going to go old school.
That's the fun of this game, because a few people have messaged in saying, definitely new tune. And unfortunately, they're right. And unfortunately for you. 2019.
Oh, really?
2019, Ketama.
Oh, of course. It does sound like Ketama. Those distorted
now
kicks.
You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that, those distorted kicks.
It's
you know he's
track.
a producer right now. And then oh my gosh. So, we've got Riordan in the studio, if you don't already know. And we're going to have a little interview, if that's all right with you now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so, you got into music, DJing. How long ago? Was it always something you'd grown up with, or is it like a new thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's something which I've definitely always been interested in. I've always loved music, but I would say it was really when I actually went to Reading and Boardmasters when I was 16 that summer. I went to my first festivals and basically didn't leave the house tent for the whole time. You know, like there was some huge acts playing on the main stage.
Yeah.
But I wasn't interested. So yeah, ever since then really was when I properly started getting into house music. I think house music is meant to be experienced in front of, with a crowd and, you know, with a
Absolutely.
DJ. Like it's different listening to it at home. So
it's so different. It's so true. I only got into house music because I went out.
Exactly, yeah. And I think seeing it live, seeing it with a vibe in the crowd, then that was when it really clicked for me. So ever since then, I've been interested in DJing, and I got my first decks. And then it wasn't until a couple of years later that I decided I wanted to start producing as well.
Nice. For the heads out there, what decks were they?
Oh, actually, I got Tractor S2 Mark IIIs, which, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't recommend getting. I think that they did the job. They did the job fine, but honestly, Pioneer all day long.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would completely agree. We're on Pioneer right now. But so that you're like 16. Did you listen to any, like, were you into music before then, or was it just like literally when you went to Reading, that was it?
No, I definitely was into music before then. I did still listen to house. I was listening to like Porter before then.
Nice.
Yeah, Porter and Bibby, Michael Bibby as well. You know, my friends at school, we would love that type of music. So when we would go to house parties and stuff, we would play that. But I still think that I wasn't like as obsessed with it in the same way until I saw it in how it's supposed to be experienced at a festival. But yeah, I definitely listened to a little bit of rap and stuff like that more when I was younger.
Do you like Central C?
I do like Central C, yeah. I'm more of a Day fan.
Oh, yeah.
I do like Central C, and also just a lot of American rap as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like old school stuff. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So you blew up through TikTok though, didn't you? TikTok this is the thing, is that it's quite unconventional.
Yeah, I would say so. I come from a small town down south called Chichester, which... if anyone's ever been there, it's not known for its nightlife. So I didn't have many connections in terms of music. So I kind of was working for an influencer marketing agency at the time after I left school when I was like 18, 19. And yeah, basically I learned how to sort of use TikTok, and I was watching a lot of influencers blowing up on the platform, and also just like people in music, and they were getting a lot of attention and traction. So I decided I might as well just try this for myself. I haven't really got anything to lose, and I also haven't got any other way that I can see of getting my music out there. So yeah, I started posting, and I guess it just started to snowball over time. It took a little while of being stuck at no views, but eventually I think if you're consistent with it, then it starts to come.
Well, that's it. I think that's so cool that you started as working for an influencer marketing company, and you use that going, I'm going to like take the initiative and do it yourself. To make you successful. That's so cool. And you've got such a personality for TikTok and for like radio and all those things. Like, your personality is so bubbly. I think that's what the thing is, that like when people on TikTok and stuff were watching, like they feel like they know you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Definitely. That's well, you know, it's nice to hear. But yeah, that's obviously what I want, really. Like, I think it's important that you kind of get your personality across, and like over time, I've been doing it for a couple of years now at least. So over time, you can't really hide your personality for that long. So I guess it kind of just comes out naturally. But yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
No, of course. Oh my God. And then your music as well. Like, yeah, you've got a great combination there. Oh, I'm just getting another text. Sorry. They all said next gen. I'm sorry, you were the one now. I'm so
Really?
sorry.
I actually
DJ doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm joking.
The DJ got it wrong. Yeah, I actually do love Ketma, to be fair. But yeah, I didn't know that one, so my bad.
It's a shame. But, talking of producing, you've got a new release and you've got quite a story behind it, haven't you? With Gorgon City. And yeah, what's it called? Tell me all about your record.
Yeah, so the track's called Needle on the Record. It's using a very old sample from an 80s track that actually my dad sent to me, so credit to him for that one.
What a legend.
He sent me the idea.
Shout out.
Yeah, he just sent it over and he was like, I think this could be cool. I think you could make this into something new. And I instantly had a ton of ideas, and as I mentioned, racing there.
That's it.
Yeah, every year they have free Friday nights, so they do horse racing where you just gamble, and then you just dance after that. They have some really cool DJs. So Gorgon City we were playing one year. I was pretty young at the time, probably 15 or so. You can go when you're quite young. And I saw them DJ. I thought it was like insane. It kind of really opened my eyes up to all of that type of music. And ever since then, I've been massive fans of what they've been doing. And then about a year ago, I met them when I was in Chicago. And yeah, we kind of have been chatting ever since. And I knew I wanted to get a track onto their label. And I don't know, once I made this one and the way it had turned out, I just had a feeling that they were going to vibe with it and they were going to like it, because it kind of aligns with their sound and some of the stuff they've been putting out over the last year. So yeah, I sent it over to them and they instantly were like, yeah, we're signing this.
Oh,
so,
amazing.
yeah,
That's such a cool story. I mean, the fact that you knew them from 16, from 15.
Yeah, I was a
that's
big
like
fan.
a full circle moment, I feel like, isn't it?
100% a full circle moment. Yeah, it's been pretty surreal because for me, I was like a fanboy of them for so
Literally.
long, and now to see them like playing out my music and signing it and stuff, it's like, yeah, it's really cool to see.
Oh, you got the support from the people that you were fans of. That's amazing. How come you met them in Chicago? What was that about?
So there's a festival in Chicago called ARC, which is a sick festival. Shout out ARC. If you ever get the chance to go, you definitely should. It's all electronic music and they book some really sick DJs. And my management are based out in the States, and I was really just out there to just go and check out the festival. Like, I wanted to just meet some people, enjoy myself, have some fun. And I ended up meeting a lot of DJs that weekend, a lot of friends as well. And yeah, it kind of helped actually a lot. The networking that we did that weekend made a big difference for sure.
Of course, or clearly, that's amazing. I mean, you've got we talked about this earlier, but you've got Fisher played your track recently, Dom Dollar. Like, what support have you been getting? Obviously, you've been getting quite a lot of support, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, so thank you. I saw that Dom Dollar just played it. I think we only got the video in like this morning, so that was cool to see.
That's amazing.
And then I saw Fisher's been playing it. That was at Club Space, which is I think the best club I ever went to in Miami. Well, best club I've been to, full stop. But yeah, the club is in Miami, and if you ever get the chance to go, you have to. But yeah, Fisher played it there, which is so cool. And Mal P's been rinsing it in most of his sets, I think, lately.
Oh my God.
Cool.
I saw Mal P a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he might have played it then, maybe.
Oh, in London?
Steel Yard, yeah?
Yeah, I saw that he was playing it. Was it good?
Oh, it was... he played, 7 hours?
Oh,
what a legend.
Yeah.
And he didn't leave to go to the toilet once. I was like, that's... How?
That's impressive.
So wearing a nappy or something, honestly. Sorry, I'm talking about Mal P wearing... That's really weird to bring up. Where do you take influence in your music?
Swift move on.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, honestly, Gorgon City have been a massive influence on my sound. Like, I would definitely put them up there. Another guy is Joshua. You know Joshua?
Yes,
really cool DJ. I've been listening to him for a very long time. Basically ever since I really started getting into like proper house music.
Nice.
And yeah, I think he's great. I think that the UKG sounds have, as I mentioned earlier, been taking a lot more influence on my sound lately. Kind of like those dirty synths. I think I went to Miami Music Week in March and I heard more sets probably in that week than I did in the whole year before.
Wow,
combined,
okay, yeah.
And it definitely had an influence on me and what music I was enjoying, and also what I saw was connecting with the crowds, like what was going off, what was hitting, what was my favourite sets, and that definitely kind of like brought a new perspective to me of what type of music I want to be making.
I love that.
Obviously you want your sets to be going down well. And yeah, no, it definitely had a change there. So that was one of my biggest kind of pivots, I think, in terms of my sound was around that time.
Well, that shows you've got such like a business acumen as well. to think about those kind of things when you're just out partying, knowing that what's going to make you, and like obviously like just doing the TikTok thing, like that is just so impressive. Honestly,
Thank you.
it's like pretty amazing.
I think with like the whole, you know, Miami Music Week thing, I guess I wasn't even really thinking of it in terms of like a business way. I think everyone remembers the sets when the energy in the crowd is highest.
Of course.
So being at those sets and it was like the crowd is popping off right now.
Yeah.
Like those are the sets I left thinking, wow, I really loved it. Those are the ones that stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what just made me think about, oh, what were they playing? What was working? And sort of how can I put that into my own music and kind of make it my own.
I love that. No, that's proper cool. That is like actually, yeah. No, you've got it on, honestly. Like the whole thing with like your remixes and your SoundCloud success as well. I've seen a lot of that. That's how I found you off TikTok.
Yeah.
And then I checked out your SoundCloud and I downloaded all your edits for the club because they're absolutely brilliant. So yeah. How did you get success on like SoundCloud and remixes? Like obviously, if you don't know Riordan, you've got a lot of remixes out there, haven't you?
Yeah, so I think when I started on TikTok, I was a very different artist than what I am now. And it did take a little while for me to kind of build everything up. But yeah, basically once the videos started getting a little bit of traction behind it, at that time I was making a lot of mashups and a lot of remixes because they're a good way to sort of get yourself out there to start with, because having a vocal that people are familiar with just adds another element. It definitely helps the videos to kind of travel, especially initially when you're like trying to get off the ground. So I started making a lot of mashups, and then as I was growing on TikTok, I was just growing on SoundCloud at the same time. And it kind of had helped me because then when I started to make my own original music that had original vocals, it was completely from scratch, I already had some people that were interested in my music on the SoundCloud platform and wanting to hear what I had to put out. So that definitely helped. But I would definitely recommend for people starting out, you know, making remixes, edits and all of that type of stuff to start with can definitely help you to get off the ground a little bit quicker, just because of that recognition that
it's like the groundwork, isn't it?
Yeah,
so like, it's really clear that that's helped you. I mean, like one of the tracks that I think I saw went viral was Reflection. And I love how I think one of the TikToks says like you grew up on jazz and house music.
Yeah.
So did you grow up on jazz then as well?
Definitely,
did you?
yeah. I actually really like jazz music as well. I was recently at Ronnie Scott's in London, like the jazz club there, which was just like so sick. I feel like a lot of my music does have some influences from that. Like I love using just jazzy samples. I always seem to be sort of like drawn to them. And yeah, that was actually the first track that I had that went somewhat viral that was completely original. So that was like a really cool feeling because that wasn't actually using any big vocals or big samples from like a famous song. That was just straight off of my Logic, you know, straight off of my laptop. So yeah, it was really, really cool to see that was getting a bit of attention, and that definitely changed a lot for me, I would say, that song. Yeah,
that definitely, I can see that. I mean, that you look at the views on your TikTok on those, like that blew up. That's how I found you actually.
Oh really?
Was through Reflection.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember I downloaded it straight away, played it at the club. Did play it at the club. It's brilliant. It's got that little bit in the middle. Are you going to play it today, do you think?
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe we'll see. Because if you haven't heard it, it's such a tune. It's got that bit in the middle that's like, it breaks down into this really nice jazzy part. And it's like, you just don't get that in house tracks like nowadays. And it's just, it's a really cool like little bit to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Maybe I'll give it a little rinse.
Little spin, yeah. Now, you're playing live as well, like... earlier we were talking about you playing at Coachella when you were 19. This guy in America, LA, not even old enough to drink there, but is playing at Coachella. Go on, give us a rundown. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
This one was a bit of a crazy weekend for me. So I basically was just messaged on a Monday from a guy who throws parties. He throws really massive after parties at Coachella, and he messaged me on a Monday and I was out there by Wednesday.
Amazing.
So it was like an insanely quick turnaround, and I was pretty lucky that I'd left my job about a month beforehand without knowing about this, and it was perfect timing because if I'd obviously been working my job, I could never have just left with 2 days notice.
Exactly.
But because I'd already left, I was able to basically just up and leave. I honestly had one of the best weekends of my life. I was DJing literally from start to finish pretty much, and sleep was like not on the schedule for that weekend. But yeah, I was out there by Wednesday and just met so many cool people. And yeah, I was literally 19 at the time, so I wasn't able to drink. They didn't even know how old I was. They didn't ask. They didn't ask. They did ask for my passport, I guess, to just like book flights, but I don't think that they ever
wouldn't have
actually
checked, would they?
clocked that
Yeah.
I was 19. So yeah, I was kind of sneaking the drinks, but luckily at the sort of after parties, you know, they're not checking for IDs. It's like a big house
and
party.
you're DJing.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to be like, sorry, actually.
Sorry, you can
bring
go
the vibes,
home.
but you need
Yeah.
to get out now. No, there's no way.
Exactly.
I mean, with live gigs recently, you've got a few upcoming as well, and I also want to talk about Party at Riordan's as well.
Yeah.
So, like, what have you got upcoming, first of all, I guess?
Yeah, so the next one, one of the ones I'm really looking forward to is I'm playing Rise Festival, which is in a month's time from now, just over a month. It's in Les Deux Alpes, and I'm a snowboarder. I've been skiing and snowboarding for most of my life, so I love it. So being able to kind of tie the two things that I love most really together, snowboarding and DJing, sounds like it's going to
Dream
be
job.
a good week. Exactly. So I got a couple of sets that week.
All right. This is the new one from Riordan. It's Needle on the Record. Let's have it. Absolute exclusive here on Select.
Put the needle on the record. 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 Put the needle on the record.
Taught and producing, are you?
Yeah, just off YouTube. I always
Amazing.
advise people that you don't actually need to spend loads of money. Like the amount of equipment that I have is super minimal. I just have a laptop, a very small keyboard that I can just play in bass lines and stuff like that. But apart from that, I haven't really spent much money at all on producing. Most of the masterclasses and stuff that you can find on YouTube are perfectly adequate to kind of teach you, especially when you're learning from scratch. Like really learning from anyone that has got a better sort of higher knowledge than you do is going to be helpful. So